It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Introducing new PANADO Pediatric Syrup 5ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back. Time to take a slightly different turn now. Well, albeit earlier we spoke about juggling career and being a mom. Well, this next segment is for those moms who are trying to balance it all. And with every child comes a journey of teething. And when we have the necessary knowledge, we can take on that phase in our child's life with confidence. It's going to be tricky, but there are ways that you can ease the pain. And joining us to discuss the do's and don'ts of teething is pediatrician Anisa Vahed. Anisa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here this morning.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. And this is quite pertinent. So my amazing sister has got a 10-month-old baby who is just so gorgeous for words, but she is struggling with her little teeth. You can see how painful it is. And I can remember it with my 2 kids. It's awful because you want to be able to help them and it just feels like there is so little that you can do. Maybe you can explain to us what is going on and how the baby experiences teething. What's happening in their little bodies?
So, as much as it's frustrating for the little ones, it can be super frustrating even for the parents.
Yeah, for sure.
I know I'm still in the thick of it with my 18-month-old. And essentially, what tends to happen is that they get very itchy gums. They're permanently sticking their hands in their gums, rubbing their ears and rubbing their mouths. They're always drooling. You'll find they'll start kind of getting a bit of a rash around the cheeks.
Rosy cheeks always,
rosy cheeks, and then weirdly enough they'll develop a nappy rash in the mix of it, and a bit of frequent loose stools. They'll totally go off their food, so parents panic, they're not eating. And so I always say
everything in the mouth,
and they're trying to gnaw mom's hands and everything. And what they can actually get is also a bit of a low-grade temperature. So what I always tell my parents, listen, if they've got extreme symptoms, so if they're inconsolably crying, if they're having a temperature of more than 38, it's not teething. Something else is going on. So then rather just chat to your pediatrician, go and actually look for something else to kind of try and manage it.
And I joke about this with all the peds, but it's amazing how quickly things can escalate. I always remember it being, oh, it's just a sniffle. Okay, you're in hospital.
Yes.
There was no, like, middle ground, and that temperature is a big thing, and I think that's all parents are just absolutely terrified that the child is going to 39, 40, you know, but there is a reason why we are so nervous about that, because that when it can become damaging. We talk about the irritation, frustration. Just imagine you had a toothache.
Yes.
You know exactly what that feels like. Babies, we can only give them limited treatment. How effective is paracetamol in helping young ones with teething?
So paracetamol is actually recommended as first-line drug treatment, according to the WHO. And what's amazing about it is it's quick, it's effective. So you give it within 30, it works within 30 minutes. It peaks at about an hour. And if you actually use it correctly and use the correct dosing, it actually works amazingly enough. And on top of it working with pain, it actually manages the fever. So if you're actually kind of giving it regularly, it'll actually be quite effective.
It balances things out, and because it's safe to use, obviously you follow the instructions on the pack, that's why we've got it, and luckily the kids love it as well. It tastes really great in the right form. Do's and don'ts. There are a million kind of, you know, I would imagine some of them not true, old wives' tales, things that can help, things that can't. So what shouldn't we do?
So what shouldn't we do? So a big thing that I kind of always say is that if you're looking at other kinds of forms of medication, that you go to the shops and there's over-the-counter medications, the teething gels are kind of, there's a lot of side effects in some of those ingredients. So you've got to be a bit wary of what you're going to be getting, what you're putting into your child. The other thing is with those teething gels, they can actually numb the throat. So they quickly wash away because you're trying to numb it. Kids swallow it, it numbs the back of their throat and makes it hard to swallow and becomes a choking hazard. Other things, teething toys. So you've got to be a bit careful because those sharp teeth can bite very quickly into those. So those old school, exactly, they'll break off little pieces. Those old school little teething toys with liquids, they can actually drink that and that becomes toxic. And then obviously, as you mentioned, the old wives' tales, those teething necklaces. So in the child health field, we actually deem that as a huge danger. We're completely saying that's not safe, just because of the strangulation, and also because those teeth can actually bite into it and they can inhale or swallow that actual bead. So we actually say if you're going to choose to do it, rather wrap it around kind of softly and very kind of loosely around an ankle or a wrist, and rather actually when they're going to sleep, rather just take it off.
There is a reason why every ped that I've ever met has recommended PANADO as a starting point. Let's start with that, and of course, if the temperature rises or if those, as you say, those symptoms persist and get to the extreme, speak to your doctor. Thank you so much. Good luck with your 18-month-old
very
baby
much.
as well, in the thick of it there. I think understanding what your baby is experiencing when teething is very important, so you can relate to them. It's tough, especially when it could potentially be the key to soothing that pain or the symptoms that come along with it. There are answers available to us.
Being a parent can be challenging, but stepping out is when things get real complicated. That's why new PANADO Pediatric Syrup 5 ml sachets are here to make the job easier. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere. PANADO, a dose of care.